If you're struggling with messy, complex logos in Midjourney, you're starting with the wrong approach. Stop. Most designers jump straight to color and complexity, then wonder why their logos don't meet their clients' expectations. Here's the truth. A logo that doesn't work in black and white won't work in color. This principle separates professional results from the rest. Today, I'll show you my 3-step framework for clean, vectorizable designs. Black and white foundations, clean design techniques that actually work, and a refinement workflow that makes vectorization simple. By the end, you'll have a system that delivers client-ready logo concepts in minutes, not hours. Stay with me. I'm about to show you how to turn Midjourney from a random generator into your branding secret weapon. Let's dive in. Let's start with the foundation of a great logo design. Working in black and white forces you to focus on what matters most: shape, contrast, and simplicity. When we remove color from the equation, we can see if the logo truly works. First, let's set up our workspace in Midjourney. So for starters, for logos, I always start with a square aspect ratio. This is in the Midjourney control area, and we want to make sure that the aspect ratio is 1:1, and this is a square shape. Next, so you want to create a mood board in Midjourney specifically for logos. And I have one set up right here. It's called Clean Logos. And these are over 100 logos that are all black and white of things that I admire. And this gives Midjourney a clear reference for the desired style, which was going to influence the outcome on these images. But don't worry, we're going to use this later, and I'm going to show you how. But first, I want to talk about prompt structure, right? So for logos, we're going to start with some simple ideas. Minimalist, black and white, high contrast, clean lines, and we're going to create a logo icon for a dog walking service. So this is just an example. This could be really anything, right? And we're going to handle the text later in Illustrator, because in Midjourney, we're just going to create the graphic icon or the graphic image, because Midjourney doesn't do a very good job of handling text. So we're going to start with the prompt: minimalist black and white logo, high contrast, clean lines, walking dog silhouette, profile, isolated, flat, white background. Right now, this is going to give us a great place to start. And remember, we're using our 1:1 aspect ratio. We have the style set to 100, okay? But here's the thing. I know from doing this a lot that we really want to make sure that we get some good ideas. So we're going to set the style to 40 and 100 because I want to show you the difference between the two. And we're also setting our mode to raw just because that seems to do a lot better for logos. And one more thing that I always do is I like to do my repeat, and I like to create lots of images all at once. And because we're setting two different styles and I don't want to overwhelm everything, I'm just going to have this set to repeat 2, and that's going to give us 8 images of each of these styles. Now, here we go, and we're going to see what we get. And what we're really looking for is a walking dog, right? And so we've got a dog walker, and that might work. That's pretty interesting here, but I think it's just too complex. We want something a little simpler because remember, you might have to embroider this. You might have to print it in multicolors. We don't know what we're doing yet. So we're really looking for more just dogs, right? And black and white silhouettes of dogs. So this one is pretty good, but you know, it's not perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit very strong a couple times, and we're going to generate some different ideas. This one might work also. Let's do that. And what we're looking for is ideas that we can use to play with. And I really like the idea of dogs just walking by themselves. I think that's going to make a stronger logo. You know, if you put the name of the company underneath, I think that would probably work. Okay, so we have some that are okay, but if we use our mood board, this is where we really do some great things. Okay, so I can show you that the style 40, the lower style, gave us better ideas than the higher style. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just redo the prompt. But you know what we're going to do is we're going to turn our personalized mood boards on, and you can see that I've got my clean logos set up, right? And we're also going to do the same thing where we're going to have repeat 2 set up. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to use the mood board as the idea generator to help us refine what the logo should look like based on all those hundreds of logos that we had in our mood board, right? And as you can see, we get something that's just a little simpler, right? Is this perfect? No, not yet, but we can still refine it. Here's one that's got more highlights in it, which is kind of cool. So let's hit very strong a couple times and let's get some variations on that. And let's just see what we get. And of course, if we have a particular dog breed that we wanted to use, these kind of look more like greyhounds, I guess. We could probably do that. Now we're getting something that's a little more interesting. It's very geometric. Okay, let's hit subtle strong a couple times with that. And this is how we can develop a logo idea that could really work for us in not a whole lot of time. Here's one I think that's looking really good. And of course, we're looking for something that we can use that's more iconic than anything. And let's get one more round. And this time I did a very subtle and a very, very strong. I like this one. See how alert it looks? It looks like it's moving a little bit. It's got some good motion. This could be really something that we might be able to do something with, and I love it. By the way, I'm going to show a surprising prompt later that most designers overlook when doing logos. It'll actually help you design something completely different, but it creates incredibly clean, symmetrical designs that vectorize beautifully. So stay tuned at the end of the video for this unexpected trick. So sometimes the key to professional logos is using the right prompt keywords. However, another powerful technique is using in the style of to guide the aesthetic. Imagine right now if you have a client that needs a fitness brand logo by tomorrow morning. You've all got that crazy deadline that slams right into your head at the last minute. So the key to delivering professional results quickly is going to be using the right prompt keywords. So let's take a look about how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do minimalist black and white logo in the style of professional sport team logos. Flame icon, because the name of the business is Burn. Brand mark, iconic, isolated on flat white background. And if we go to our settings, we're still using raw and we're still using the aspect ratio of 1:1, but this time we're going to do the style at 50 just because. Let's try something different. Okay, actually let's do repeat 3 and let's see what we get. And I love this because it gives us, instead of 4, when you only do it once, it gives us 12 different ideas. And you'll notice that that style language immediately gave us something that is kind of interesting with a couple of these. I kind of like this one. I kind of like this one. This one's really good. Okay. But, you know, maybe we want to do something that's based on our idea. Okay. And this is how we can use the omni reference idea to put some more emphasis on it. So it's real easy. And let's just say that we made a sketch, and here's something I did with just a Sharpie. And if we want to take a look at it, here we go. Let's enlarge it, right? So this is just a really rough idea I did with a Sharpie and kind of detailed it with a pen. This is not anything super elaborate. Let's go ahead and use this with our idea. And the secret to using anything with omni reference is to keep the omni weight a little lower. Okay, now the higher the number, the more exact to the image it looks. The lower the number, the more creativity it has. And I can't even tell you how many hundreds, if not thousands, of omni reference images that I've done. And I tend to use an omni weight of 80. That seems to work the best. So let's try it and let's see what we get. Now, we're also using the mood board and we've got our prompt set up. So there's a lot of really goodness in this. And let's go ahead and do repeat 3 also just to see what we get. And let me tell you that you're going to get much better results than just simply your prompts. So here's our 12 images that we did using our quick little sketch that we made. And you can see some of these are completely unusable, but a lot of these kind of look interesting, a place to start. I really like this one. And if we do a very subtle, very strong, we're going to get some development on that. I also like this one. I like that this kind of look with the flame. I love to see what we could develop out of that. And I also kind of like this one as well. So we've got 3 ideas that have possibilities. And the great thing about Midjourney is that you can refine them to see where they're going to go. Okay, looking over everything, it looks like we've got some really great possibilities, but I can tell you one that really stands out is this one right here. It's not perfect, but I think this has got great possibilities. I'm going to hit very subtle a couple more times just to dial it in. And remember, when you bring this into Illustrator or whatever program you're using to vectorize, you can clean up the curves, you can clean up the angles, you could do a lot of this stuff later when you vectorize the logo. Right now, we're just looking for something that we can start with. And remember, this all came from our quick little 30-second sketch that we uploaded. And look, we've got a winner. I love how this is straight. Of course, we can clean this up later. This is a really great icon to use, and it only took us a couple moments to handle. Now remember, the reason why we're not doing textures, we're not doing gradients, we're not worried about color right now is because later, that's a nightmare to vectorize. First off, we just want to get the basic logo shape handled, and I'm going to show you how to make something look really awesome later with color and texture and all that, but we really just want to get and nail our logo and make that look great. That's our focus right now. Now we want to get ready for vectorizing our logo. Here's the one we did for the CrossFit Gym Burn, right? It's our flame logo. So one of the things that we want to do first, we can delete the background on this, or we can just download it and bring it right into Illustrator or other vectorization programs. And I want to show you how to do that real quick. For the first thing we need to do is we need to upscale the logo, right? This is going to allow you to download a better and cleaner version of the logo, which is going to be better for live tracing. And so we upscaled subtle because that really doesn't change anything. You can upscale creative. That sometimes changes the file slightly. And because we like what we did, we're going to keep it the way it is. And our logo is upscaled. And all we have to do now is just download it. And it's ready to go. And we jump over here to Illustrator. And we can place our image. And it's a little big for our page, but we're going to adjust it. And all you have to do is adjust to black and white logo. And you have a threshold, if you haven't done this before, that you can grab more or less of the image. If you're wanting just the image and not a lot of detail, you want a little less. If you've got a lot of detail, you want to grab a little more. And then you can do the same thing with paths and corners and everything. And then we always do fills. And then we also want to auto group. So select that. And then when you've got everything adjusted, just hit expand. And then it instantly live traces everything. And you can choose the points and adjust everything for however you want it. And you can see this gives you a really super clean logo that you can now, it's vector and you could be using it or adjusting it or making it red or whatever you want to do. This is where you do it. You don't do this in Midjourney. You do this where you want to do it. However, let me show you how you can play in Midjourney with some colorization and different ideas in Midjourney. So let's take a look at that. Now that we have our clean vectorized logo, we can also start exploring how to use color, right? Remember our fundamental principle, a logo that works in black and white will work in color, but not necessarily the other way around, which is why we want to start with black and white, okay? So there's two approaches that you can use when adding color. So you can always do that in your vector software where you just click and add it, make it red or whatever you want to do. And that's fine. But because this is a Midjourney learning video, we want to show you how to do it in Midjourney. So let's concentrate on that right now. So we want to go ahead and use the retexture idea. So let me show you how to do that. So back here in Midjourney, okay, we can go ahead and play around with some stuff, and I'm going to show you some different ways that you could do that. So first off, let's go into the edit, and then we're going to use retexture. Okay, now we just delete everything here. We don't care about what the prompts were, and we're going to say flame logo. But here's the fun part, is we can get new ideas in here. We can say flame texture, we can say color variations, and we still want to say isolated. We still want flat white background because we only want to play with what's black. Okay, let's turn our personalization off, and all these other things don't matter so much. Let's hit standard here, and then the fun thing here is you just hit submit retexture. Now retexture isn't available for everybody. Midjourney right now, if you're watching this in around May or June of 2025, is very limited to who gets retexture. I'm sure they're going to open that up to everybody sooner or later. If you don't have that, you can't use it yet, but I'm sure it'll open up for everybody. And so this is how you're going to play with it. All right. So let's hit submit retexture. And while that's going, let's do some other ideas. Let's go ahead and do ombre embroidery, and let's also do photo flame texture. Now the fun part of this is that you can get some really great color ideas that don't really take you a whole lot of time, and you can riff and play on these all you want, right? Here's the embroidered look, right? Some different ideas. And then here's the photo look that we were just playing with. You know, I kind of like this blue kind of thing, right? So let's play on that. We had that right here also. Let's play on that, right? So it's kind of an interesting way that you can kind of just spin around a little bit. And the fun thing here is when you're presenting these ideas to your client, right, you can also give them some different digital ideas that they might want to be interested in. And because a one color idea is great, but what if you were able to present some of these ideas just to see, hey, what do you think? Do you like them? You know, this is kind of a cool kind of ombre kind of embroidered look. So this is an interesting way to get new ideas and generate them super quickly without a lot of effort. So there's another way that you can also play with color here in Midjourney, and that's actually with the normal prompting. Now, warning, this could possibly change your logo, and maybe that's an experiment you're willing to find. So first off, let's go ahead and use our logo here as an omni reference, okay? Let's go ahead and click this, and we're going to use it as the image, and we're going to drag it over here to the omni reference, right? Now we're going to add some prompts, and we're going to say flame logo, fire texture, vibrant color, isolated on flat white background. Just like we did before, we're not going to use the personalization, but we are going to make sure we're still in our 1:1 aspect ratio. We're keeping our style to 100. And we're also going to control our omni reference But this time, let's try some different omni weights. So let's do 30, 60, and 120 just to see what we get. Let's also use our repeat 2, and that's going to give us a lot of choices that we can play with, and let's see what works. So look at all the stuff that we were able to achieve. Now, as you can see, it totally changed some of these logos. Let's not worry about those. Let's look at the one where it actually kept our image, like this one, okay? Is this something you would use? Probably not, right? But let's look at these other ones. Here's one that I really like. See how it did the flame pattern inside? You could simply delete the gray part. Look how cool and interesting that came out to be, right? And then here's another one, right? Where it's got this kind of concrete-y looking texture in there. That's really interesting, right? You've also got these gradation ones. Look at this one where it's got the flames inside. Very interesting. So this is a different way that you can get color and different textures and different ideas really super easily. And of course, we could repeat this numerous times and we could dial in what we want. And this is just a different way of doing it. Also, let's cover what happens if things go wrong. Okay, so if things get too complex, like this one, okay, you might try lowering the style value. And here it's at 120, right? So if we did a style value of 25, let's say, maybe that changes things for us. Let's see what we get. And as you can see, we get a cleaner look and not a lot of stuff. And so maybe that's something that can work for you. Also, let's say you get something that you don't like a shadow, right? You can also try doing a remix, right? And then adding a prompt, no shadow. And this should take that shadow right out. There you go, no shadow. So these quick fixes are going to solve about 99% of the problems you encounter. So we've covered a lot of ground in this video, so let's recap our 3-step framework. First, start with a black and white foundation using mood boards and clean design principles. Second, use specific prompt techniques to create vectorization-ready designs. And third, refine and export your work with color and creative variations to ensure professional implementation and a complete brand package. So let's go ahead and talk about that bonus that we promised earlier in the video. A great way to get a vector-ready file sometimes is to use a certain prompt sequence, and this always seems to work great for me. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to type in, just like we did earlier, minimalistic, iconic, but this time let's just make a cupcake logo. So there's a local bakery that needs an icon, so we're going to do a cupcake logo, and we're going to also say isolated sticker, thick, bold, white outline. And by the way, you can still use isolated, and you can still use a flat white background if you want. You can also say flat gray or blue or black or whatever if you want to have a different color, just so you can see how thick the white outline is. But the isolated sticker white outline works really great. So just for different sake, let's not use white. Let's just say light blue, just to do something different. And still, we're going to want to have our one-to-one. Let's turn our personalization back on, and let's just make sure our style set to 0. And let's also do raw, just like we were with everything else. Let's do 16 images this time. And then what's going to happen here is we're going to get some really great iconic cupcake logos that will be really good for any sort of bakery logo brand mark that you're creating. And here you go. Now, are all of these perfect? No, but some of these are really great. Look at this one, for example. You know, it's clean, it's fun, it has a really great look to it. Also, if you bring this into any vectorization program is going to make a fantastic logo with not a whole lot of changes. So these ideas are simple and can save you hours of cleanup work and also iteration just by using these techniques that I showed you today. So remember, a great logo design isn't about luck, it's always about process. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.